capacity to outthink and out-aim your opponents simultaneously, the possibilities are endless. With MOBAs, it's a little bit more, well, okay, they've lost 3 people in that team fight and they didn't do a lot of damage, so now they can go and end the game. And that last 60 seconds when that happens, it's kind of anticlimactic, like you're just watching the Nexus blow up. Obviously, there's exceptions to that, like the X-Pecky backdoor or whatever, but you know, in general, I think there's elements of MOBA games that are really anticlimactic, but there's in Counter-Strike, it can really come down to the last bullet fired, and does quite a lot of the time. So I think it's a great, you know, I've always preferred FPS esports, and I think people are going to watch them more and more, and I think Counter-Strike is really capturing the imagination of people, and Go presents it in a way that everybody can get on board. It caters to both casual and hardcore people to play. You know, you can get skins now, you've got cosmetic stuff, we're starting to see gambling sites jump up off the back of it, so games matter, tournaments matter, we've got incredible storylines, real professional organizations. It's everything I always wanted Counter-Strike to be right now, and I've had the pleasure of being involved in Major. I've had the pleasure of being, you know, directly talked to by Valve, and again, big shout out to Ido. I love that guy. He's one of the nicest human beings on the planet. Said some incredibly positive things to me. And when I last talked to him, I was like, you know, fuck this game, fuck this community, fuck Counter-Strike, fuck my life, fuck it all, you know. And when I saw him again at the Major, he just said, I'm so happy that you could rejoin us, because, you know, and come back to this community, because we all love your work, and it was sad to see you kind of leave us for a bit. And it's like, motherfucker, you work for Valve, you know, like you've made it, you know, like the fact that you would take the time to come over and talk to me and say it was great to have me back. I mean, that was real touching. They gave me a limited edition CSGO polo shirt and an ESL Cologne t-shirt that was only given out to like crew and competitors and stuff, and it was just awesome. So I got nothing but admiration. I mean, like, Valve as a company are incredible anyway. They make amazing games, and I didn't think Counter-Strike Global Offensive was going to work. It got off to a very rickety start. I've been there since beta, but this is incredible. It's done so much for FPS as an esport, and long may it continue. So anyway, let's see. Now I did want to answer this one as well. So Julmari with 3 eyes asks, what happened with Esports Heaven? Was the Cadred and Tech9 merge too much? Because it seems like quite a dead side. So Julmari, you guys obviously won't know this, but he was a Cadred user who used to just first post in every thread, every news post, every article. And it was a running joke that basically if you got first post, you didn't put first, you put Julmari. And it was like part of the atmosphere, part of the lore, you know, it was part of the kind of community references, you know. So it's great to see you still around, dude. And, you know I probably banned you a few times and stuff on the site, but it's great to see all of the old names still trucking. So to answer that question about what happened with Esports Heaven and the Tech9 merger, I mean, you know, it was just really frustrating for me. Like, the site that we delivered was an improvement in a lot of ways, and it fell short in lots of other ways. And I'm really sad that it didn't get to the stage that I wanted it to in the time frame that it didn't. We had multiple coders get involved on it. It was just so difficult to bring that site over the line. And the thing that I completely underestimated was merging the website. I had no idea that what would happen is, as soon as we merged Tech9 with Cadred, what would happen is the Tech9 people would just say, right, Tech9's dead and we're done. So we ended up with initially more traffic than ever, but slowly but surely it got down to the level it was at before the merge on Cadred, which was, you know, a huge amounts of traffic, but we should have had that plus Tech9, and what we just got was Cadred traffic, and the Tech9 is kind of dribbled away. You know, so I got a lot of regrets about how that went down. I mean, I don't know it's not like it was all my fault, but I made the decisions to merge. Looking back, might have been a bad decision. I made the decisions to preserve all of the archives, and ultimately we probably shouldn't have spent as much time doing that, because that was time. But we had to merge two different databases that were written in two different languages. You can still see now that if you look at an archived article, none of the images are there. The formatting's all fucked up. So it was all for nothing, really. And ultimately, you know, it's great to be able to say, oh, here's an article I wrote in 2006. I keep all my articles anyway. I could have created my own archive if I wanted, and no one reads them anyway. So we put so much effort into preserving the archives, because everyone was like saying, "Oh my god, the Gottfrag archives were fucked. We need them back. It's esports history in the making." I didn't want us to make that mistake, but in actual fact, people said they wanted it, but it made no difference. They didn't really want it at all. So I should have changed it. I would have done things different. So yeah, you know, I'm sorry it kind of went the way it did. Your other question is there going to be Gonzo-esque editorials for LoL related stuff? And for those that don't know, Gonzo was the longest running column in esports. It was mine. It was a weekly column. It was called Gonzo because, as I said earlier, Gonzo was my gamer name. And I was trying to be funny, you know, Gonzo, gonorrhea. And what I wanted it to be was every week I would write an editorial about just the sleazy, shitty side of esports, and I would do it in kind of a humorous way. Now, I'll tell you this, Julmari, old friend, I can't even write a standard opinion piece in League of Legends without it rustling jimmies. I don't think anyone's ready for Gonzo. And actually, you know, it's kind of a little bit immature now. I'm super happy with the content. I love what I contributed in that time. Like, I'm proud of all of those pieces of work. But I actually think I've gone on to bigger and better things. I think my work is better now. I think working with an editor at the Daily Dots really helped me improve, and I continue to get better. And you know, I think, you know, Gonzo was great at the time, but it's of its time. It would be a bit passé and forced if I was to try and resurrect that style now. But you know, never say never. We will see it. VON asks me. Oh, and obviously, Julmari, take care, mate. When you see this, you're you know, all the best. VON asks, "Hey, Richard, long-time fan. I have a very serious question for you. Do you prefer super noodles or pot noodles?" Now, this is crucial, because in the battle for noodle supremacy, it's so tough. Super noodles offer you a more substantive and filling experience, but their flavors are a little bit, you know, meh, a little bit bland, and because you have to apply the powder yourself to them and the hot water, the onus is on you to evenly distribute the flavour throughout. Plus, they got this really awkward way. You have to cook them in a microwave. You got to, like, effectively turn them halfway through, or you end up with crunchy bits on the edges. And it's like, the end product is good, but it's only as good as what you put into it. So it's like, you've got to put a lot of effort into something that's ostensibly a light snack, you know? Pot noodle, on the other hand, boil the kettle, water goes on there, and the trump card in the pot noodle arsenal, the Bombay bad boy, hands down one of the greatest things to ever happen to fat bastards who like to snack between games. Yeah, so pot noodle, it wins. There you go. Eddie asks, as someone who just recently found out about you via First Blood, what were your experiences on your football rugby coaches? Again, I won't go too much into it. I don't think it's necessarily that interesting to a lot of people. But you remember the three finger story. I couldn't play for quite a while after that. I had to have a special cast on my hand, so I didn't hyperextend the tendons in my fingers while they healed. Even now, if you look, again, you can see how that joint bends. And I make the little triangle, like the little tent, but that one can't bend at all. And it was, anyone who plays rugby knows, if you've got your hands on the ball, people bend your fingers back to get you to let go of the ball, and that's fine. And usually you'll do it with no damage. But if you bend that finger back, the tendon just rips. And it's quite horrible when it happens. My finger goes all purple and bruised. And I've had the tendon snapped a couple of times in that. And that's one of the reasons why it actually has healed in quite a really bent way. So I had to kind of stop playing even after it healed. But I had a special cast anyway, which kept my hand like that, and that was for like 3 months. Then I got a second one, and it was like that, and that was for 3 months. And all the while I was having to do physio. So that was when I basically went real hardcore into coaching rugby, and I was coaching a female rugby team at the time, and we it was a good experience. We did reasonably well. We weren't the best players, but I think everybody who was part of that team would, think of me as a good coach. That they learnt stuff. I think they thought it was good to have somebody who was really interested, and I did really commit to it. And I learnt about lots of sports science elements and sports psychology elements. I read up on them and tried to bring them into coaching. I didn't want to just do some stuff. I enrolled in some real low-level courses. I did think about getting my coaching badges, but ultimately there just wasn't time with everything else that I was doing. But it's something I've always thought about. I technically still do. I write for a sports website where I write about football, and my editor there, he's completing his UEFA coaching badges, and he has said, if you ever want to do it, this is how, and you pay this amount of money and you start the course. And I'll never say never. I'll never rule anything out. But esports is being real good to me right now, and I deserve to focus. I don't deserve. I need. It's the respectful thing to do is to focus on that, because it's like I said, it's what I care about. The fans are being real good to me right now. They deserve somebody that's focused on bringing them the best content, rather than me spreading myself across multiple ventures. Anyway, I can see we're a little past 10 o'clock. I had no plans to really go on as long as I have, but what I'm going to do is I'll take another break. I'll run some more commercials, and then I'll come back and we'll do another half an hour, because I'm sure there's some other questions that people are going to want answered. I'm going to try and get as many done. I think, we're probably over-egging the pudding if I go on for much longer, and I don't want to bore you all. So I'll run 3 minutes of ads, we'll come back, we'll do 30 minutes, and then, we'll wrap it up there. But again, thanks all for watching. It's amazing, 2,000 people just listening to a dude talk. And yeah, I know this Sean Paul is still going out, but yeah, all you Master Race ad block people will get to look at not only my chair, but you will also get to look at my bare ass as I leave the room, probably because I've got a horrible body shape where my jeans never seem to quite fit properly. So enjoy that. That's the penalty for using ad block, and I will be back shortly. Yes. DreamHack. We should address that. There was a good question about that in the thread, actually. Just to, is it Muse Matt in the chat? Yeah, I got some weights. I still lift. I'm just, I still do weights. I'm a pretty big guy. It's not all fat, but obviously as you get older, the regime would need to be super serious, and I'm comfortable with what I am, dude. I'm an overweight binge drinker. I'm all right with that. Fuck it, I'm not bothered. Body image is just, you can't have that level of vanity where it's like, you just fucking, oh no, someone said I'm fat. Yeah, I'm overweight, dude. But I still lift. I still try and stay strong. Strength is the more important thing, rather than anything else. So it's regime, not regimen. I think regime is right, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's regimen. Maybe I'm an idiot. Fuck knows. Anyway, right, back to the AMA. And again, thanks to all you guys for staying on. I know it's probably been, like I say, a bit long-winded, and perhaps we've not really addressed all the questions you would have liked to have heard. But there's something in it for everyone, I hope, and maybe we can do some AMAs like a bit more regularly, like every month or bi-monthly. We can make it a regular feature of the stream if people like it. So we'll definitely think it over. We'll see how well the VODs are received anyway. So ADM 1976 says, "Hey Richard, any chance for Reggie on First Blood?" I think it's highly unlikely, but I will openly extend the invitation to Reginald right now. He's more than welcome to come on the show anytime. I don't think he will, because he will know me as the journalist that wrote an article basically calling him a tyrant and saying he was a bit of a bully, and the way he treats his team seemingly isn't so cool. So I don't think he would. He's not historically been great with people who criticize him. But anything's possible. Maybe he wants to just come on and argue with me. If he does, again, I'm happy to do that. I like to think no matter what I write about anybody, it's never malicious. There's never any bad intentions, at my end anyway. So if he considered himself to get past that, he's more than welcome to come on the show. I'd love to have him on. Loco Doco as well. He's another person I would love to get on. So right, let's see. Zoarok. This is a good one. Do you regret your days early on in the esports scene where drugs and such were a big part of your lifestyle and indeed the esports culture? Or do you think it has shaped who you are today? So, it's real hard to talk about this because, first of all, I don't think I can be absolutely candid about drug use on a Twitch stream. And it's probably not very professional to use that word to get into it. But you're not wrong, dude. Like, there was a big... If you were at a certain level of notoriety and you went to certain events, there was a real big drug culture around esports, and weed. I mean, that goes without saying that everyone who's gamed, I think, at some point has had a chong. I don't think that's a massive surprise. And I'm very much a legalize it kind of guy, and that's not even about whether I do it right now. But it's just just relax. It's there. It's not going to go away. And I'm seeing all these states that have legalized it, and nothing but positive things. Good things happening because of the tax revenue. No one's died or gone crazy. What I will say is, with a caveat though, we do need to start doing some serious studies about long-term habitual marijuana use and how it can impact on mental health, because we haven't really conducted those studies, not in any great depth, and we need to start looking at them. I mean, you know, we've had a few come in, and we're maybe linking it to you know, if you've got a predisposition to schizophrenia. I think we need to find out more about this particular area, because the last thing we want to do is, you know, turn a blind eye. Like, the only thing that annoys me about the whole legalize it argument is that the people who want to legalize it are just fucking losers. They just never shut up about it. Oh man, it's just the system trying to keep you down, and marijuana's never hurt me. It's like, you are the reason. Like, the best advertisement for fucking not smoking weed is you, motherfucker. Stop being boring about it. Just stop saying the same pointless shit and regurgitating the same trivia, you know? So I think, like, we need to be a bit more enlightened and educated. It would be a huge myth to think any drug is just entirely positive. Did you know, man, that, like, marijuana cures cancer? It's like, dude, for fuck's sake, like, you know, it's if you alter your chemistry internally, it's gonna be good in some ways and probably is bad in others. Like, you know, just stop trying to make out that it's entirely positive, because that's probably taking the argument a little bit too far. But certainly it should be legal. I mean, I'm a big advocate. Actually, I think all drugs should be, but that's not the question. So, I was a massive party animal, and I did partake in what was available at the time, and I don't really regret it, because I wanted to, you know, I was called Gonzo, so it's no secret what I was trying to do was play up to the whole idea of you know, the Hunter S. Thompson, you know, kind of a badass. You know, you go to an event, you get fucked up, he writes up this, like, ridiculous version of what happened, and is it true or not? I mean, all of my early writing was, I got paid to go to events, I got fucked up, and I kept a diary of the event. That was basically what I got paid to do. And the diary was like, you know, I would sit in a player room, and if a player was doing something really ridiculous and embarrassing, fuck it, it's going in, fuck it. I'm not keeping your secret, fuck you. If we stayed up bumping fucking rails, that's going in. Sorry. You know, if I mean, and it was great, because I was only at a small website called Source Junkie at the time when I started this, appropriate name as it happened, and all of the fucking staff there were crazy. They were wreckheads. I mean, one of our, the guy who did all our graphic artists and, like, all our graphic art, sorry, he didn't do all the graphic artists. He did all the graphics, I should say. That makes him sound like a sex maniac as well to boot. But he ended up in an asylum. Like, he got sectioned. The editor turned up, he got invited to the British, like, gaming BAFTAs, and he turned up with, like, 2 Czech prostitutes, 2 Czech escorts, and a big bag of drugs. Like, these were the people I was working for and with. They really encouraged it. So it was great. It was like rock and roll reporting, you know. So it helped stamp an identity on my work, and it helped me do the work, and it helped me gain a reputation, which you're absolutely right. It was a blessing and a curse, because everyone was like, oh my god, this guy is fucking outrageous. Like, the shit he's writing, is he really doing this? And then they'd meet me at an event and I'd be fucked up, and they'd be like, holy shit, it's real. You know, he's really doing this stuff. And you know, those people loved it. But then people who wanted to work with me were like, well, we can't work with this guy. Look at what he's writing. Look what he's saying he's doing. How can I hire him? You know, how can we have this guy represent our company? Because look what he's writing. So, you know, it gave people ammunition to fire at me as well. Like, there was people out there saying I was a drug addict. You know, not true. It was just party, you know, just recreational shit. Stuff you do when you're young. Or not, you know, your choice. I'm not judgmental. And, you know, he's an alcoholic as well. I like a fucking drink. I don't know if that makes me an alcoholic. So, you know, there was this constant undertone, like, this guy is unreliable. And it's bullshit, because anyone who's worked with me knows I work super hard. You know, yeah, I'd fucking get fucked up, but I'd be the first guy in the press room in the morning. I'd be the last guy to leave the venue at night. I'd waddle off into the night with a beer in my hand, and people would be like, how the fuck does he do it? I mean, one of the reasons I'm a fucking wreck now is those hard years in esports. So I don't regret it. I mean, I've always been into not just partying, you know, like new experiences and expanding, you know, consciousness. You know, I lived in Wales. There's magic mushrooms everywhere. They just grow everywhere on the rugby pitch. You know, magic mushrooms grew on the fucking rugby pitch. So everyone would be dropping mushrooms and shit. You know, it was just part of the culture. Like growing up as a young guy, you take mushrooms. It's just, it happens, you know, boom. So, I don't know, man. I no regrets. Not really. I regret how fucked up I am now as a result of my excess, but that comes to everybody, so fuck it. So, yeah, good question. I like your beard, thank you. Let me see. Do I, well, maybe asks, do you sometimes wake up in the middle of the night and just shout the word journalist? I do wake up in the middle of the night having horrendous night terrors, but I've never shouted the word journalist, no. Shouted the word Reginald a few times. No, I'm kidding, I haven't. McMonkey1 asks, hey Richard, since you're one of the most experienced esports personalities, I would like to ask whether or not you see LoL as a potential permanent esport. Is it here to stay? I don't think any esport is here to stay. The nature of the beast is that it's ephemeral, and gaming technology advances so fast that a game that's popular now, you would need to create a sequel to it. It would need to be updated. I know League of Legends is going to get a big visual overhaul, but actually is that going to be enough that in 10 years it doesn't feel like a rickety piece of shit? Plus, gaming trends are going to change. You know, the way we game is going to change. What constitutes a competitive game is going to change. There'll be innovative stuff that we've never even seen before that we can't conceive of right now. So there is no such thing as a permanent esport. It's going to play a hugely significant part in the development of esports as something substantive and meaningful in society. And we'll be talking about League of Legends for a long time to come in esports, but we'll be playing either like a League of Legends 2 or, you know, whatever. I mean, Riot have said they don't even want to make a sequel, so you would need to patch and overhaul this existing game, you know, or completely change the engine or something so it was a sequel in everything but name. You know, probably is in 10 years' time. So it will be here to stay. You know, but it won't be. You know, it's just, it'll have to change. Answered that one. THZLOL says, I hope the stream is mostly just you answering questions and not playing games. I'm not going to play any games. I'm doing a fucking AMA. Unknown Entity asks, will we really do the Trash Talk NA expansion tournament marathon? I'm totally up for it because that tournament, I'm actually jacked for that. I'm pumped for that, and I want to hopefully even bring players on, you know, like while they're competing, you bring them onto the show as the guests. I'd really like to do it that way, and hopefully they'll be up for it, you know, provided we can get through it without everyone being fucking DDoSed into oblivion. But we'll see how it goes. So yeah, but I'm totally up for doing it. Like, you know, I'll give the people what they want. That's what I'm all about. Okay, Fix Vag asks, Richard, you always seem to be the one getting the scoop, so I'd like to ask, how do you go about establishing contacts, especially when you're new to a particular esport like League? Is it because you're in the old boys club? Insert promotion here. So, right, now I'm going to record on my SoundCloud channel. I'm going to start a series called Doing the Job, and it's going to start with all of the requisite skills you need to be an esports journalist, and possibly, you know, just a journalist. Like all the lessons I've learned from my career, good and bad, and I'm just going to record it like stream of consciousness, and it'll be there. You know, people who want to find it will be able to find it. They'll be able to listen to it, so you won't have to ask the same questions over and over again, and it'll be a resource for people. And, you know, maybe it's self-indulgent bullshit. Maybe it's just me, you know, recording my life story in some fucking jerk-off act of narcissism. Maybe that's true, but maybe it would actually be useful to some people. I got no idea. I'm a little bit biased, so you'll have to tell me. But the first thing you absolutely have to do to establish contacts, hang out. You got to hang out. David Simon says it best. He says, you know, it's a quote that he said, you know, he did what all best journalists do. They hang out. And that's what you do, man. You get around a scene. You start going to the events. And you get yourself known, you know, you get your face known. And when the people start seeing that you're always there, they start feeling a bit more comfortable with you. They open up, you know, you introduce yourself and you buy them a fucking beer down a bar, or you get talking, you know. You've got to have good social skills to be a journalist. I mean, you know, you can be, or rather to be the kind of journalist that I think most people think of, you know, like breaking news, this kind of thing. You've got to be the guy that can... It's a lot like being a salesman sometimes, because sometimes it's completely fake. It's a false transaction. You convince the guy to give you the information that you want by synthesizing a bond, synthesizing a relationship, and you make them open up to you. But you've got to do it in such a way that actually after they've given you the information, they don't feel too strongly to you, because then you've got this person that's a pain in the ass, you know, and won't stop bothering you. Or they feel really bad and they get guilt driven and they're like, oh my God, I shouldn't have told you that, please don't print it, blah, 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 blah. You've got to literally be in and out, smash and grab. So you learn techniques like that in a sales environment, where it's like you form bonds, fake bonds. You know, for example, they do this thing called features and benefits matching is a sales technique. So what it is I ask you a question like, you know, what sports do you like? And you say, oh, well, I like football. And I go, oh, me too. And what's really good about this product I'm trying to sell you is it will update you with live football scores. So I'm matching the feature. I'm matching a feature of the product to a to a benefit that, you know, it's in a way in which you will benefit. And then what I've also got there is a piece of information, so I can forge a bond with you. It's bullshit, of course. I probably don't even follow football, but what I do is I use the information you tell me, seemingly for something fundamentally routine, but actually what I'm doing is I'm building up a human connection that I then use to exploit to sell you the product. So you're kind of doing things like that as a journalist. Not all the time. I mean, the reason I get as much as what I do is I'm an affable guy. You know, these guys have known me a long time. I've hung out in esports for 10 years. I go to the events, I buy the drinks, I keep the secrets, I tell the stories. You know, I'm out there all the time, and I make time for as many people as I can at all levels of the industry. I'm not an elitist, you know, like a junior writer who's starting out in this business has got just as much time as spending all night drinking with me as a fucking CEO of a streaming platform. You know, we're all part of some big esports fraternity, and I see us like that, you know. Everyone, not maybe less now, but when I was going to events regularly, everyone's got a Richard Lewis story. Everyone gets that story. I just like hanging out with people, and you'll be amazed, you know. You can hang out with somebody once, you never see him again for 2 years, and then bam, they add you on Skype. Rich, I've got a job with this organization, and guess what we're doing? And I remember you bought me that old beers all night, so now you get the info. So that's how you got to roll, man. It's just like, you know, just by being a good guy, really. Just by being a nice guy. And sometimes it's a fake nice guy. More often than not with me, it's not. But yeah, sometimes I do that. Sometimes it's like I find someone I don't really like, but I got to mine them for info, you know. It's bit shitty, but it's the gig. It's the nature of the beast. So, Eric, well played G, says, how does it feel to be known as one of the more edgy esports journalists, and do you ever feel like people don't take you seriously because of it? So, being edgy in esports is like, you know, what? It's like being the hottest guy at Weight Watchers. You know, it's so fucking easy. Like, the standard is just so low of what constitutes edge that, in fact, I actually, even me, I rein myself in, because I know that even like an AMA like this, right now, I've been really candid about things, and that will bite me back. That's going to bite me in the arse. Right now, there's someone watching this stream who's thinking, gotcha, you cunt, Richard Lewis, I gotcha. I'm going to fucking send this admission of how you may have dabbled in drugs when you were young, and I'm going to send it to Twitch and get you kicked off the channel, and I'm going to send it to the Daily Dot editors. And someone's going to do that, by the way, you know, because that's too much edge. They don't want somebody to, you know, be able to express opinions that they don't feel comfortable doing. Why should I get away with it and make a living out of esports? Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. Yeah, that's not fair. So that's how they view it, and that's what they do. So being edgy in esports is real fucking easy, dude. You know, it's just, all it takes is just expressing an opinion. That's the sad truth about it. You express an opinion that goes against the majority of people. You know, if you hit that 60-40 split, opinion-wise, or 70-30, let's be generous. If you're in the 30, if your opinion represents the 30%, prepare for a rough time. Because the majority will bandwagon the shit out of you. They will fucking, you know, oh, he's being so edgy. It's too much. His opinion doesn't align with what the majority of people think. So it's not edge. It's not edgy. It's like, I'm just an old fucking guy. I worked in an industry for 10 years. I think I'm entitled to have an opinion about that industry. And if you don't agree with the opinion, surely you should at least respect me as a stalwart of the industry and my right to express it. But no, it doesn't work like that. You get fucked over for it. So, I think some people didn't take me seriously. I think people thought I was like trying, or, you know, it was a brand. This is just who I am, you know, like, no fake fucking personas, you know, like, sometimes I guess on Unfiltered, like when I go into rant mode, I play up to it a little bit. That is an element of performance, but what I'm expressing is still my opinion, you know. I'm not a contrarian for the sake of being a contrarian. So some people don't like it, you know. It's like, well, look, you can be like a guy like In Control. I consider In Control to be like really tame. I consider him to be like a PG-13 entertainer. I think he's funny. He's so fucking unique in the StarCraft space. And, you know, the word on the street is he doesn't get to do BlizzCon because they want a safer broadcast. You know, they want it to be more professional, i.e. no edge. And I think that fucking sucks for him, because there hasn't been many better servants to StarCraft than In Control down the fucking years. Like, at all. At all. Not just, you know, StarCraft 2. Not just, you know, in the last 2 years. Like, the history of the game. This dude has fucking, you know, put his fucking life into it. Blood, sweat, and tears. And me and Jeff won't always agree, and we won't always see eye to eye. But that, for me, is the guy you want to reward with a BlizzCon spot. Doesn't matter if he makes a fucking dick joke now and then. Just tell him not to do it. That's all. Problem solved. You know, Jeff, we want a safe broadcast. Please keep the jokes in line with that. Okay, no problem. Problem solved. He should be there. He should be there. He should be recognised for his contribution. So that's what I mean. There's an example of how it takes nothing to be edgy in esports. You know, like I say, I'd let Jeff do jokes at a kid's birthday party, you know, while making balloon animals. That's how edgy he is. You know, but he gets fucked out of it. You know, he gets fucked out of a valid spot that he's earned because of that perception about edginess being a bad thing. So I got nothing but love for what he brings to the table. He'll bounce back. I know he doesn't want to talk about it anymore after his vlog. That's cool. I don't want to fucking kick the hornet's nest again. I already made my views about it clear. But, you know, Jeff is StarCraft for me. And he's a big part of esports, in my opinion. So, how much money do I make? From, is that Camelon Crack or is that Camelon Crack? Oh, Camel on Crack. Yeah, I see. You're an animal on drugs. That's funny. So how much money do I make? Now, obviously, I'm not going to divulge specific amounts, and I'll tell you why. It's not because that I care. about you guys knowing how much money I earn, but actually what you've got to think about is, like, I work with a bunch of people and maybe they don't earn the same as me, and you know, I don't want to potentially create like any feelings of you know, unfairness. So I that's one reason. I also think I don't want to create a headache for my employers by people saying, well, Richard gets paid this, so why don't I get paid this? So, you know, it's the respectful thing to do, you know, for my employers. But not only that, I think as well, we got to get away from this, you know, fixation in the industry about who's earning what and blah blah blah. Now, and one final point: if you say an amount and it's not very high, and everybody will shit on you, like, you're a loser. Every time some guy wants to have an argument with you, you're a loser. You only earn this much a year, and I don't. I earn more, and I got a trust fund. And yes, you're pathetic. And then, like, you know, like, what the fuck, like you would say, you know, you would just say that to people on the street. Like, you get on a bus, you know, hey, what do you earn, bus driver? Well, you know, minimum wage. You earn minimum wage, and you drive a bus. Not me. You know, you would be considered a fucking douche, but unfortunately this is the internet. Don't know if you noticed, plenty of fucking douches around. So all of those reasons make talking about salaries, you know, fucking, you know, suck. But here's what I will say. I clear an action, you know, the most, I've held sales jobs, which were very, prominent, you know, very high up, sales managers where I've run departments and had very sizable bonuses for hitting targets, which makes it all the more weird that I would walk away from that for an esports job, because I was, you know, rolling in the money. But I now, thanks to the contributions of the Daily Dot, plus my other endeavors, you know, where, like, I made money through, you know, consultancy work, my casting, this kind of thing. I now earn more. This is the most money I've earned in my life at any given point. So every month now, I've got money in the bank, and I can, you know, if this goes on for the rest of it, you know, like saving up for a deposit for a house, for example, is a very realistic thing that it wasn't 2 years ago. You know, it's I've hit a very lucrative part of my career. I'm not ashamed to fucking say I think it's great. Like, finally, some fucking money. I can do some cool stuff with it. You know, I'm trying to be a bit of a philanthropist with it. You know, like trying to do a bit more positive stuff. Positive for the community, like think peace and that kind of thing. You know, I'm trying to spread the wealth, if you like. But you know, for the first time in my life, I can have shit that I want. I can look after my girlfriend the way that she deserves, because she's supported me massively through this. And there was some fucking slim times. I mean, you know, when we first met each other, she thought I had the coolest job in the world, because I told her I was a technology journalist. You know, I didn't know if she would be ready for the gaming reality. And, you know, I still had holes in my shoes, and, you know, and she stuck by me through all of that, because she, you know, saw the potential Richard, not the actual Richard, and we're finally realizing some of that potential. So she deserves to get something out of that. So, yeah, there we go. So hopefully that kind of answers the question. How about buying a nicer cam? Is the so Fabius87 says, does this cam suck? Because it was a pretty expensive webcam, and it is HD. So you tell me if it really does suck. So I'd like to know if this. I don't know if it's just because I've fucked up the broadcast or something, but maybe I have. If it was, well, apologies if it sucks. I thought it was pretty awesome, but maybe, it could just be my bit rate or something. I don't know. It does look a bit grainy, but whatever. Anyway, so people are saying it's kind of suck dong. 6 out of 10. It's decent. 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10. I'll get a better one, guys. Sorry, I had no idea it sucked. Never really thought about it before. So I'll use some of the money you guys have given me, and again, I you know, all the subscription money and stuff's going back into the stream. You know, for people who are just watching today, you know, I've sent out DVDs and and books to my subscribers. I like to educate people about Ebola. I bought a bunch of copies of this book by Richard Preston. It's called The Hot Zone. And it's about like the first outbreak, a serious outbreak of Ebola in the 90s. And it's about a doctor who goes out there to basically deal with it. I've been sending that out to people who donate and stuff on the stream, and just randomly as well, random users. For Halloween, I gave away a bunch of horror DVDs, and I've actually got this, which I still need to give away. It's Dawn of the Dead, my favorite horror movie of all time. I'm going to give that to some streamer. I mailed out a bunch of books and a DVD to a couple of regulars in the stream. So I'm trying to put the money that you guys give to me, because like I said, I don't really need it back into the stream. So I'll definitely get a better camera if that's what you guys think is required. But it should. I thought this was a really sick one, but apparently not. So. Next question. I was gonna dodge this one, but I'll answer it. So it's Fanny of Fan 3. He says, "Hey Richard, do you think Travis is a pussy for not reporting on news that he has inside knowledge of, aka roster change, etc., before the team releases statements on them? I know in other sports, a reporter wouldn't sit on his hands; he'd report them right away, the way you do." So I'll say a couple of things. It's the way I do things. It can be fraught with peril. A lot of people have pointed out, oh, this Invictus Gaming thing has been denied. Dandy's not going there. He's denied it. I mean, I will qualify that by saying I've seen players deny shit. Like, Saint Vicious denied, that he was in the Curse Academy side on Reddit to my face. 2 days. He posted, "How does this guy know I'm in the team before me?" It's like, dude, you're in the team. Like, I love you to bits, but you're in the fucking team. Why are you denying it? And, I've seen lots of players do this. They deny shit. And it's like, I get why you're doing it, but it would be more respectful to not say anything. Just no comment. Players just need to learn those two words, no comment. All you got to say. Let the community speculate. You don't need to call another professional who's just doing their job a fucking barefaced liar, set all your fans on them, make their lives a living hell for 2 days, and then go and do it anyway. And then it turns out the guy was right. Because all the vicious little fans that give that guy shit and make his life fucking miserable, they don't turn up and apologize. So players shouldn't do that. Anyway, do I think Travis is a pussy? No, because he is a reporter, and reporters are controlled by editors. So Travis isn't a pussy. Travis is a very well-connected guy, and I'm sure he could report on lots of things. I'm sure he's got lots of insider knowledge. The way On Gamers seems to work as a whole is they'd rather, when they hear about something, they'd rather basically issue an official version with quotes and everything else rather than leak it. And maybe that's better for traffic. I don't know. Maybe that's better for traffic because the organization says we'll also give you a video interview with Travis, which so it's double the hits. Someone who leaks that information probably isn't going to get that interview. I mean, I hope it doesn't work like that because it would be a little bit childish, but it can do and does. So the editors have made a decision there, and that's not a reflection on Travis as a reporter, not at all. Editors run publications. All you can do as a journalist is, do your level best to report on things in the way that your editor approves of. I know Travis works super hard at becoming a better reporter, a better journalist. I know he's got aspirations of becoming a better reporter and a better journalist. I think he continues to improve, and I think, like I said, I don't think you can level any negative stuff at him. Hot Agari asks, "Are you an alcoholic?" Probably not. I don't know if an alcoholic would be able to tell you if he's an alcoholic. This is a good question. Vertex Array says, "Did your friendship with Robert Owen constitute a problem in writing a piece about the latest controversial events around DreamHack?" Now, this is absolutely one of those stories where ordinarily I would have recused myself from writing it because of my personal relationship with Robert. Absolutely. But the problem was the community wanted Robert's version, and Robert was going to give the version to nobody but me. Said that specifically. So, I mean, and I'm not talking about just like esports dudes. He turned down interviews with, I think, like Polygon, I think maybe even Kotaku. Everybody wanted a piece of Robert when he got removed from DreamHack. But he was like, Richard, you're the guy I trust to A, write it in an engaging way, and B, to not fuck me over, because I don't want my opinion to appear in a condensed or altered format. Now, I love DreamHack to bits. I consider myself part of the DreamHack family. DreamHack have been very good to me. I love all of the guys over there. And, you know, it's so sad for me to see such an acrimonious split between the family and the guy that I always thought was the figurehead of the family, the father figure. But I'm not going to get embroiled in any of the battles, you know, that Robert is embroiled in either. I'm his friend. I love him dearly. And no doubt we'll be drinking well into our 60s together. But the point remains that he's got the problem with DreamHack, and all I can do as a friend is support him while he goes through these changes of life. Now, my journalism isn't there to serve that function. It was there to tell his story. I asked DreamHack if they wanted an interview as well. They declined. They said, we don't talk about past employees. And indeed, DreamHack actually have a policy of, you know, whenever a problem or a PR thing issues, we kill it with silence. That's how they like to handle it. So I think you know, it was problematic, but I weighed it up, and you know, you can tell me if this was the right thing to do. I thought the community needs to hear Robert's version. Robert will only tell his version to me. I'm gonna have to be that guy, even though it doesn't sit easy with me, even though it leaves me open to criticism of bias. So I did what I thought was best, and maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. So I'm just gonna quickly go through. We're actually running right down to the bottom of the AMA. So a lot of these questions have probably been downvoted for a reason. There's lots of questions about me and Thorin, the King of Leaks, people talking about First Blood, specific stuff about Skara being a new CLG coach. You know, yeah. Just whatever, dude. We'll see how it pans out. Think Skara's a good guy. Think CLG need a coach. You know, whatevs. How Spiffing asks, is esports journalism worth pursuing as a career? I think we've pretty much covered that one. And one of my favourite journalists in the world. Thank you, Motionam. That's really nice of you to say. This is the last one I want to do. I think, anyway. I don't think there'll be any more. There's only 52 more comments. So, favourite piece you've written. Now, I wrote a piece and it didn't do well. It's been buried in the ether. Nobody knows about it. But probably favourite piece I've written, I wrote something called Adrenaline Junkies and Slaves to Fear. And it's talking about how you need adrenaline and, you know, that flight or fight response to kick in to be successful, and it's all about how you marshal that. But one of the reasons why it was like particularly important to me as a piece of writing. So another thing that probably is a lot of you guys don't know, about it must be 4 years now, maybe 5. I actually had a bit of a problem with my heart, and I won't go into the details about how it occurred. You know, insert weight jokes here, but it's not that. And basically I had to. I nearly died. I was in cardiac arrest. So well, I say nearly died. Maybe that's melodramatic. I mean, you know, my heart wasn't doing what it should, and I was in a very bad way, and I had to have some whatever it's called, is it epinephrine or something, or the adrenaline to sort of bring me back. And ever since then, I mean that will fucking make you really revise shit. Like that will really make you revise how you think about life and that sort of thing. But after that, man, I remember being out and like fucked up and sort of just, you know, like lying. And after I had this injection, just on all fucking fours and just vomiting, like just fucking every muscle in my body tensing. It was unreal how powerful it is. And when you think that your body produces that shit like naturally, and you know the things it can make you do, it was like, it was always in the back of my head that I wanted to write something about it. So I wrote this piece, and I thought it was great writing because it came from a place where it was like I was really inspired, you know, like almost this second chance or whatever cliched bullshit you wanna call it. And I was writing better work. I mean, I was writing from bed, you know. Yeah. So so that piece, if you can hunt that down, and I know the format will be all fucked up and stuff. Yeah, you should read that. I'm proud of that as a piece of writing, and I don't think many people got to read it. So there you go. I don't want to end on that because again, that's like a bit of a weird fucking bummer. But again, you know, total disclosure, it's an AMA. It's an Ask Me Anything, and I will answer anything. So Hesitation says, Richard, I've been a fan of you since you become a regular on Chris's show, and I think you are doing a great job picking up where he left off. I hope to see you guys again together in a reunion show in the near future. And obviously, Hesitation is talking about the Old Boys Club coming back. So I talked to Chris about it and said I wanted him to be the first guest on the show, and Chris said he won't come on the show. Again, I'm sad. You know, I'm real sad. Like I cried. I actually cried on the last Unfiltered because I knew I wasn't going to see Chris as much. That's why. Not because, you know, my show, my precious show, but the best part of, or one of the best parts of my week was me and Chris would sit on a Skype call and we'd talk about all the things we were going to talk about on the show and what was going on in esports. And you know, it was like losing a friend because we wouldn't have that excuse to do it anymore. And yeah, you know, I fucking love that man, like really, and I don't get to see him anymore, and that really makes me sad. You know, we've maybe had a couple of interactions and picked up the phone, but he's got to think about his family, and he did so much for me, and I know I kind of feel it would have been nice to have been able to do something back for him now that my shit's coming together, and I don't know, man. But he said that he doesn't see how he could do a show because, you know, he can't be half in, half out. He's going to honour his Deck Wars commitments, and then that'll be him done with esports. And yeah, it's real fucked up, real sad. So, yeah, you know, I'd love to do the reunion show. Maybe he'll change his mind one day, but I don't think he will. I think the idea of me, Destiny, and Chris coming together to do a show again is probably never going to happen, and you know that makes me sad. But that's the truth of the matter. And you know, again, when you care about people, you got to respect their decisions, even if you don't necessarily agree with them if it doesn't make you feel good. Let's see what else we got. Okay, this is an interesting one. Outrageous Animal says, as a journalist really looking to start covering League and other esports, have I found more success and reception from your articles through websites such as the Daily Dot or video discussions and podcasts on YouTube and Twitch? I know all of these are valuable for different reasons, but was curious if one media form had more of an impact than the rest. So here's what I would say, Outrageous Animals. In terms of overall success, getting paid, getting known, being established, being at the Daily Dot and being an esports writer, absolutely hands down wins. But the only reason that I'm enjoying this little purple patch of popularity at the moment is because of First Blood and doing video stuff. Because I think what happens is when I write in a certain way that people assume it's combative, or it's fucking aggressive, or it's egocentric, or whatever. And it's just the tone of my writing. It's a lot of the time actually quite playful, but people, you know, they don't understand the context. They haven't grown up with me as a writer. You know, if you're a League of Legends fan, you know, you're new to my work. You know, when I was a CS writer, I had, you know, fucking 8 years of background, so people knew. They knew what the jokes were and what the serious bits were. So the video work has basically shown people, you know, that I'm not some fucking monster. You know, I walk on 2 legs and I don't have 6 hairy tits on my back. I'm not a freak, and I'm not a bad guy. You know, I think people are realizing, yeah, you know, he might say some dickish things, he might do some things I disagree with, but you know, he means well, he works hard. You know, I can kind of get past my distaste for him, and actually, you know, I can tolerate his content. It allows people to see a very different side of me. So I would say, if you're the kind of writer who's going to be divisive, it definitely helps to have a visual presence. It definitely helps to have a way where people can actually see your intent and your interactions, your, you know, the way you are, the tone of your voice, your body language. So I think that's been hugely beneficial for me because of the type of writer I am. But I would say, just if you weren't an asshole like me, the writing would be fine. That would probably be the way to go, because monetizing a podcast, blowing up on Twitch, super hard. You know, when I stream, I stream to my faithful 200 followers, and it's fucking great, and I love all of those guys. I love all of the regulars. You know, I'm never going to be front page of Twitch, 100,000 people watching my stream or whatever. You know, it's never going to happen, right? So it's a lot harder to blow up doing this kind of content. People want to watch top players doing tutorial streams. They you know, they want to watch YouTube videos of amazing plays. Or amazing moments, videos that last maybe a minute, 2 minutes. They don't want to see a 3-hour talk show, you know? So, you've definitely got a better chance of being a writer. So, Technorath asks thoughts on the Tryndamere on communication philosophy and AMA's thread. I'm not going to go into it because I'll just get accused of riot bashing again, but I'm going to say one thing. I'm going to point one fucking thing out, right? Because this really, again, to use that phrase, it boiled my piss. I couldn't believe he had the, like, almost the audacity to say this. So there was a bit where, right, he says, we encourage all rioters to be themselves and interact directly in the forums, social media, etc. We like interacting as part of the community and don't see ourselves as above it, but we recognise the important role that Riot, of course, plays in helping to shape and influence it. And he mentions in the next bit, he says, as a result, as individuals who love League games in general, we tend to prefer informal communication and interactive, and the more formal or official it becomes, the more polish and thought that needs to be put into any communication. Now, that is very veiled. There's a very veiled way of obfuscating a fundamental truth about Riot. Now, every time I've tried to reach out and interview a rioter, or have a rioter on a show, or, and you know, this includes, you know, casters, this is rioters at all levels, people like that, they are told, actually, can't do it. Can't do it. We can't do it. Everything's got to go through fucking legal. You know, we can't talk to you in an official capacity without absolute consent. So the idea that they do these things where it's like, oh, you know, we really want everybody to be just so informal and just talk on the forums, and we encourage people to be themselves. Bit of a fucking bit contradictory, isn't it? You know, there's a reason why you don't see these people doing interviews all the time. You know, they're not. You know, you've got to get clearance to talk. So when they said that the previous AMAs are being coached and PR bullshit, I mean, if you're not going to allow somebody into an arena where questions could be spontaneous, what do you expect people to accuse you of? You know, if I can't get somebody who works for Riot to come onto a show and subject themselves to a direct line of questioning in real time because they're worried about how it might go down, and they may say something stupid and there may be some reprisals, or I might ask a super difficult question that they're not willing to answer and their silence makes them look bad. If you're afraid of all of those things and you keep people out of that environment, then guess what people are going to say? So I read that and I was aghast. I thought, like, wow, like, the gall. The sheer fucking gall of it. But anyway, so I won't go too much into that because obviously that's Riot bashing. I get accused of doing that way too much. Okay, well, look. We've hit the 3rd hour. I think I've answered all of the biggest ones. Apologies to anyone who posted a question and it didn't get answered. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a break. 3 minutes again. And then I will do 30 minutes of spontaneous questions for anyone who wants to ask them, just for you guys who watch the stream. So anything goes. You can ask questions. I got my second monitor over here, so I'll try and do it. But save your question. Don't post it now. Post it when I get back from the break. And again, thanks to everyone for watching. Here come the ads. Blah, blah, blah. And I'll see you shortly. I'm saying here come the ads, actually. I keep forgetting. You need to have your dashboard open, Richard. Fucking idiot. Not that it matters anyway, let's say. All ad blocked up the wazoo. So, here it comes. Commercial break. Strangely tiring, actually, I've got to say. Ah, the lighting. Maybe you're right, Vincent. Win manager, hold that thought, dude. Hold that thought. I will answer that question. I will answer that question. I'll be right back though, but keep spamming it. Oh, you weren't talking to me? I don't mind, because I think that's an interesting question, actually. That would be an interesting question for somebody like me. So, yeah, sorry. There's the ass crack. Sorry, guys. This t-shirt, I shouldn't have wore it for the stream, really, but I wanted to show that I still love DreamHack, obviously. Okay. Oh, there are still ads, are there? Right, okay. Sorry, my bad. Well, I'm waiting. Wait for it to finish. Okay, so let's get into this. Right, so just so you know, what I thought, what the win manager said was, he said, clearly you just want to be loved because deep down you're insecure, and I thought that was aimed at me. But I think this is a very interesting. I think this is a very interesting point. So, right. I don't think anybody that does this sort of thing, where you have a public presence, you have this version of yourself that you present to people, and you're an entertainer and you're in the public eye, I think that you're very... you're super likely to actually be, deeply, deeply hurt by criticism. I see this quite a lot. I talk to a lot of, successful YouTubers, and they, little things seem to get them really upset, actually. Like, this video got 1 million, this video got 500,000. Why don't people like me anymore? They seem to get very upset very quickly. And I gotta be honest, I won't lie to you guys. Fuck, I'm not a liar. Many things, but not that. And yeah, actually there's an element of truth in that win manager, and it does apply to me, that I do want, fundamentally, like, it's like I said, if you can't like the person, I guess I crave that respect. I crave that respect. And I try... The reason I have the arguments with people that I do is because I think maybe there's a tiny part of my brain that, so maybe 95% of it is just correcting them, because I just want the facts out there. But 5% is, what if I correct them and then they agree with me? Like, there's a saying, isn't there? The best way to get rid of an enemy is make him your friend. So maybe I don't always do that the right way, but I'll tell you, some of my best friends in esports, we started from a position of absolute hatred. And, that should say enough about me. Like, I can be hot-headed in the moment, but generally when you get me like one-on-one, I'm an alright guy. So yeah, there probably is a little bit of truth. And, yeah, there you go. William Turton, prime example. William Turton was like sniping at me, calling me an asshole, and now he's like my little bro, all the way under my wing, in a headlock. Cause, we actually talk to each other. Instead of attacking the idea of who we think we are, we just got to know each other, and when we did, we were like, actually, who we really are is kind of cool. So, lots of questions coming in. Right, you got popular and big, especially after On-Gamers stopped working. Duncan Thorin Shields. Was that planned, or just that's how events turned out? Do you attribute some of the success to that? And that's from Pandushi. Well, look, dude. I'm not trying to snipe anyone's shit. Like, I'm not trying to. I didn't wake up one day and I was like, Duncan got fired, now's the time for the show. The show had been planned for ages, like, it was always coming. The assets were ready, the hosts were ready. I could easily conclusively prove that Duncan still had a job at On-Gamers at the time we conceptualized and created the show and had it ready to go. The timing, I don't know, has it been fortunate for us? Probably it's not, actually, in a way, because... on the one hand, sure, there's a gap there, and it's a gap we can fill, but we're not the same as Summoning Insight. We don't have the people on board to be the same as Summoning Insight. We're not trying to be the same as Summoning Insight. And in fact, when Summoning Insight comes back, I'm going to be saying to Duncan, like, how can we make sure that we don't overlap, don't clash with each other, because there's room for two good, high-quality League of Legends shows. There's room for more than that. There's room for fucking 7 or 8, We can all work together and make it work. And I'd like to think as well I'd gained some traction before that. But certainly, First Blood has presented me to a new audience. And that's been great, Sivo P Champ 420 says, what is Crazy Cat up to? And did you ever cover the shit brick that is Madam's when you were at Cadred? So obviously a Counter-Strike enthusiast and a long time reader, so good to have you in the stream. I saw Ollie recently, actually. So Crazy Cat's a Counter-Strike Source player, one of the great talents that never really took off. It never really happened for him, but great talent, great guy. So close to true greatness and true success, but it didn't really work out for him. And we went to a Nine Inch Nails gig in Birmingham together. So I did see him. We went with him and his brother and my ex-housemate, and we got fucked up and watched Nine Inch Nails and had a great time. So yeah, so I still see him. And as for the Madams thing, yeah, I mean, okay, so just so guys know who this guy was, he was a manager who pretended to be like a millionaire, a self-made millionaire. And I mean, this story is fucking hilarious. And basically what had happened was he got in an industrial accident and he broke his hip. And he got a compensatory payout for it, you know, of like a few thousands or whatever. But he came into esports and frittered the money away, like hiring sports cars to go to events and pretending he was a millionaire, right? So here's how they found out it was all bullshit. They went out to a pub in, you know, where this guy lived. They knew he lived locally. They weren't trying to find him or anything, but they just thought, oh, you know, maybe we'll go see him later on. We'll ring him up on the phone. And they went to a pub restaurant type thing, and were having a few drinks. And they looked over, and one of the waiters was fucking Madams, the millionaire manager, working as a waiter. And they were like, what the fuck? What the fuck are you doing? And he was like trying to pretend that he was like secret millionaire. Like, oh, you know, I just work here for the social side of it. I don't need the money, you know. So that was that guy. So, I mean, that's classic esports right there. That's basically every esports story ever. In a nutshell. Okay, so Zero Wing 39. All your base are belong to us. You mentioned Hunter S. Thompson as an influence. What writers, if any, inspired you in the industry, past or present? Any interesting, unique voices? Who should I read if I want to improve? So, I'll be frank, actually. When I came into doing esports journalism, I knew who was out there, but I was in a place where I had so much, you know, like an arrogant swagger to my demeanor. I didn't rate any of the other writers. I didn't rate any of them that were out there. I was absolutely adamant and confident I could write in a way like no one else was writing, to a level that no one else was writing at. And I didn't even read a lot of other people's work. You know, it was I found it risible. I found it, you know, the standard was really bad in 2005 as well, though. The standard was really fucking bad. You know, I mean, there's people who made careers off just being king of these tiny little hills of shit. Like, there was no competition. Like, it makes me laugh. I see a lot of old school esports journalists, like, saying about how the standard of esports journalism has declined. And it's not. It's better than it ever has been. We got real fucking journalists working in this industry now. We got real journalists from major publications writing about esports. How the fuck does some guy who can barely, you know, who writes 500 words? And again, so let's put it into fucking context. In 2006, when I got nominated for that award, I wrote a 3,000-word critical dissertation on the attitude, the difference in attitude between UK and European Counter-Strike players. It was called Perceptions. And I took quotes from loads of players about why things were different and stuff. And it was nothing special, in my opinion. Got nominated for an award. The fucking piece of writing that won the Esports Writing Award that year was a piece by, I can't remember who the fuck wrote it, some German guy. And it was called Spawn, Pro Rapper or Pro Gamer, ? Now, this guy had never met Spawn, the player. He never interviewed him. He was just a massive fanboy. And he'd heard that Spawn had set up a home recording studio and was going to release a rap single, a rap song. So he just wrote saying, and it was like 650, 700 words. And he just wrote saying, isn't it great that, like, the most amazing Counter-Strike player ever can also rap? I would love to listen to his songs. I think he is great. And isn't it great? And it was just like the most fanboy piece of wanky shit I've ever fucking read. That won the award, by the way. You know, so Get fucked. That's what I say about anyone who says that the fucking standard of esports journalism was fucking higher back then. It was fucking embarrassing, and I didn't want to be influenced, actually. There's one guy... yeah, I know. There's a guy saying you seem bitter about not winning the award. Seriously, dude, come on. I mean, on the one hand, yeah, but like anyone should have won the award, but that fucking piece. Anyone. So, yeah, I didn't want to be influenced by the writers at the time, because the contemporaries... I had a lot of respect for BSL. BSL, the Counter-Strike guy, Jonas. He's a real journalist. He wrote for real papers. He is a top writer, and people will probably never know that about him. But like everybody else, you know, I could take or leave. I got more respect for the contemporaries now, and the people who've been around and improved, like your Thorins and people like that. That goes without saying. But at that particular time, I didn't give any fucks about any of them. So, right, let's scroll up. I'm trying to get them, get as many as I can. Okay, so this question came up as well from William Turton. But Mrs. Snuggleshark, that's a terrifying image, says, what is something you wish you could have reported but couldn't due to a promise or secret that you had to keep? I'll tell you this. There's so much crazy shit under the surface at esports, dudes. Like, there's players that have sidelines in, you know, really weird, crazy lifestyles. You know, drug dealers, just all sorts of crazy shit. And I'd like to really, honestly present that side of it. Absolutely. I also think as well, I mean, I used to know this guy, this player, and he used esports, he used what he called a gaming addiction to wean himself off drug addiction. Now, I've always wanted to write that, but he's always been a bit iffy about having his name attached to it, because obviously the connotations, again, surrounding drugs and drug addiction, you know. So it would be really hard. I mean, maybe I leave his name out. You know, I don't know, but his was a great story. This was a guy who was like sleeping in a squat and was, you know, actually legitimately addicted to Class A drugs, and he used Counter-Strike to get off that. I think that's a fucking great fucking story, but everyone's so like squeamish about the D word, you know, that you can't really do it. Okay. Tell us my personal favourite teams from both NA and EU LCS. I mean, again, it's very hard to have favourites. Like, I love TSM in NA. I know that people find that hard to believe, but, you know, they're the team that I like to watch. They're the team that I follow. They've had some great players historically. I got nothing but love for my man Bjergsen. You know, I've known him when he was just coming up. And so, yeah. Them in Europe, I love Fnatic to bits. Always love that organization. Always will follow them. You know, I love the original, you know, fucking Moscow 5 guys. And wanted Gambit to kind of do well. But, you know, it's like, it's good. I mean, and again, Roccat, man, I think when they first came into the split, they were a breath of fresh air. Loved them. Got great personal relationships with all the guys at Copenhagen Wolves. It's very hard for me. It's very hard to be objective and, like, be a fan, because, you know, I know a lot of the people. I know a lot of the teams. I got relationships with these guys. So it's very hard for me to, like, not root for them. So when you get, like, say when Fnatic play Copenhagen Wolves, I just have to kind of sit back and enjoy the game. Like, I can't really lose. But yeah, in NA, you know, TSM and Cloud9 are way out in front for me. I don't know what it is about CLG. I never really clicked with them as an organization, like, and some of the personalities on their team. It's a shame Liquid has been defaming me in public, because I like Curse, love Saint Vicious to bits, like one of my favorite players of all time. Voyboy is the nicest dude you will ever fucking meet. Like, it's not even fake. It's not a put on how nice he is. I interviewed him. It was one of my very first League of Legends interviews. It'll be up there on YouTube somewhere. Just a super nice dude. So, yeah, there you go. Okay. Body says he's got a question for me coming up. But we'll see that. What's the worst event I have attended? Asks, I think, how do I pronounce that name? Furia Del Mono. So, oh my god, there's been so many shit ones. It's got to be ESWC. I think it was 2010 or 2011. Holy fucking shit. Dudes, that event nearly fucking killed me. It was 2011, I'm pretty sure. So, it was in the arse end of nowhere in Paris, like super hard to get to and from, you know, like just wretched, poor organization. Like, the press area was fucking tiny. They didn't even give you free water. It was super fucking hot at the time in the building. There was no area for the players to go. They didn't provide anything whatsoever facilities-wise. You know, it was just a fucking giant mess. And every time you try to talk to someone to improve something, they just told you to go fuck yourself, basically. You know, there was no real fucking chance that anything good was going to come of your requests to improve. And you know, it got worse. One of my staff at that event, he was walking back from a bar. He was going back early because he was really tired. And he got arrested for drink driving while on foot. Drink driving while on foot. And Rakaka, the Swedish website, reported on it, like, cadred staff member arrested at ESWC. And everyone was like, oh, it's got to be Richard Lewis, you know? Like, but yeah, arrested for drink driving while on foot. Fuck that event. It sucked, dude. So much. I've got a million stories about why that event sucked, but I just don't want to remember it. It's just made me feel sick. Okay, so here's an interesting question from Prowness. Said, why did I not confront Wicked on the last episode of First Blood when he pulled out irrelevant stats? Look, I might have a reputation for being a bit of a hard ass, but I'm not going to have a guest. I believe a guest on a show, you got to treat them like they're a guest in your home to a certain degree. Sure, I'm going to ask him questions. I'm going to, you know, grill him. We talked about some difficult stuff. You know, I brought up the whole reckless thing. But I don't need to be needlessly aggressive and say, sorry, mate, your stats are shit. Like, Mike had something to say. He wanted to say it. He collated data that he thought proved his point. And I'm going to respect that, and I'm going to give him the platform. You know, he's graced us with his presence in the sense that, you know, who the fuck am I? You know, he's the guest. It's going to give the show extra license. It's going to give it extra value by having him on. And what benefit do I get out of just saying, your stats are shit, you're talking bollocks, fuck you. And, you know, if I'm a prick to him. So I wanted him to express the opinions that he wanted to express with the data that he felt substantiated those opinions. And if you guys disagree with that, it's your place to judge him, and it's your place to call out that argument. You know, I certainly, maybe I could have been a bit more challenging, but I don't want to go into an area where we bring guests on a show and we act like assholes to them. I don't want to do that. That doesn't mean I'm going to let them get away with talking shit and lying or dodging questions, but I don't have to be an aggressive prick to people, and that's not who I am, believe it or not. So yeah, so I didn't want to do that. Let's see. Okay, so Garneen says, you're a babe. Thank you. Also, is there a niche to fill that you don't see being filled yet in the league scene? Yeah, I mean, I see little niches that I think there's definitely room, you know, for certain types of content that we don't really have right now. But I don't know if we've got anyone necessarily that can produce that kind of content. I mean, I think we're definitely at a stage, like, for example, where we're really ready for what I would like to see is some sort of, like, you know, we haven't really got a sports center type show yet. And, you know, outside of the actual LCS broadcasts. And I'd like to see something like that. Something really polished, and something that really brings, you know, a nice detailed level of analysis, you know, lots of ex-pro opinions and stuff. I think we're definitely ready for that. I don't really see anything as filling that role. I think Summoning Insight isn't quite there, and I don't think it's actually trying to be that. What I like about Summoning Insight is, for me, it's the right level of sort of casual banter, but also, you know, quite deep and meaningful analysis. So there's that. I think we could also see more sort of comedic content, because there's not actually a lot of quite highbrow comedic content about it. You know, like we see a fail montage or something like that. But actually, there's lots of stuff going on in the league scene that is, you know, unintentionally comical. And I don't think we've got anyone kind of brave enough to be a commentator on that. Like, it's easy to do a top 10 hilarious things that happen in solo queue video. But actually, let's talk about, you know, the top 10 ridiculous roster swaps, top 10 most stupid things that have been said, or you know, top 5 most ridiculous predictions that were proven wrong. Like, who's going to go out and actually make funny content about areas where the supposed pros and the experts have failed and fucked up? No one wants to do it, because again, they're scared of backlash from fans. They're scared of, you know, backlash from the people themselves. So don't really know. Is it true your foreskin is 9 feet long? No, it's not. That's a good question, but I'm gonna skip it. Sorry, dude. Oh God, Marrow. Do I still have animosity towards the former people at Rukaka? Absolutely not. Not now. I got really pissed off because they wrote a story about me. They had a personal relationship with a female photographer that accused me of stealing a photo. Now, this comes up often in our line of work because, you know, you click on Google, you click on Creative Commons license, you know, you look through what you can and can't use. Not everyone's going to have artwork. And I used a photo, and this, and absolutely perfectly within her rights, she said, can I have you know, can I be credited? And I said, sure. And she said, well, I want to click through a link to my website. And I said, well, I'm not really going to do that, but I will credit you. And she said, no click through, you know, you're not using the photo. She was really obtuse. So I got into a dialogue with her, like saying, you know, where did you... She was saying that I was breaking the law and that she could sue me. And I was like, where'd you pull this shit from? Like, where did... And she goes, I study journalism law. I know what you're doing is illegal. I can sue you. And I'm going, oh, actually, you can't. I explained why you couldn't. Because, you know, I wasn't trying to pass the work off as my own, and I wasn't profiting from the use of the image. So, you know, it would have been hugely problematic. You can still ask for me to take your work down, but, you know, I've got time to comply with that request. So I explained all this to her, and then I was like, where did you study journalism? And that wasn't actually intended as a thing. I was trying to build a conversation out of it, and she just was super aggressive. Anyway, Rukaka being Rukaka, they took a fucking IRC chat log, used the worst chunk of it where I just looked like an asshole, ignored all of her unreasonable requests prior to it, printed it, because the person who ran the story had a personal relationship with the photographer. She was Swedish. And they put a picture up saying Richard Lewis, it was Richard Lewis is a thief, and they'd done a picture of a little burglar with like a black and white striped jumper, my face, and I was like, is this shit for fucking real? Like, can you fucking do this? So that's why I was pissed off at them. Like, they tried to reach out to me and work with me and shit like after that, but I was like, motherfuckers, like, no way, like, that. But when I got to meet them, you know, I nearly had a fight with Hellspawn. I mean... But we're buddy now, you know? I was just talking about this with Robert the other night. You know, it's fucking weird how far everybody's come. But, you know, I was a bit of a hothead back then. And it was you know, all or nothing. You fucked me over once, I'll remember it for the rest of my life. So that was that. Right, quickly cramming more questions. Favourite word to say? I don't know. Baboon. It's a great word, isn't it? Do I still live in the UK? Yes, I do. That should be obvious by my terrible times. Okay, Oleg versus the World asks, how do I get shit done in life? I'm lacking motivation to do anything, and I can't seem to find a goal since I have no idea what I want to do in my life. I'm on my second year of college, but I don't even know why I'm going for the degree that I don't even want. Okay, Oleg, right? Dude, this is a life question. So let an old guy just tell you, you're not supposed to know, dude. You're not supposed to know. It's a myth. Everyone, you know, like some people, yeah, some people have these clear paths like laid out for themselves mentally, but I think they're in the minority. In my experience, they're in the minority. The reality is, you shouldn't know yet. You're not even a fully formed person at your age. Your brain is still developing. Your personality is still developing. You're still gaining life experiences. And it's natural to feel demotivated. And this can be for a variety of reasons. I can't attest to what they are. It could be a reaction based on anxiety. It could be you're feeling depressed. It could be just, you know, a quite normal and rational response to fear. You know, it's like the mouse that gets cornered, they sit perfectly still, even though they know, you know, the threat is coming towards it, but they sit still, they panic, they lock up. This is, you know, quite common, and, you know, I guess on a very real level when it comes to behaviors, a lot of the time, sometimes the safest course of action, you know, mentally in our heads is to do nothing, right? You know, like we think, if I do something, I can fuck up. But if I do nothing, I can't make a mistake. Things stay the same. Nothing changes. And maybe, you know, because of that, it can't get worse. So we have this mental lock, and it's very hard to get through. All you got to do is, this might sound really fucking dumb, but you've got to just do stuff. Try things. You've got to, you know, open yourself to extreme possibilities. This is the best thing you can do with your life. Open yourself to extreme possibilities. If someone asks you, like just randomly out of the blue, do you want to come and do this? And it's not the kind of thing you would usually do, right? You're like, go, do it. Make yourself just go and do it. Just open yourself up to that possibility that it might broaden your horizons. If you go and it happens and it reinforces everything you thought about that particular thing, what have you really lost? Nothing, dude. Like, so the key is you've got to go out there and just do it. Do this degree and just do it to the best of your ability, but maybe look at others. You can transfer. It ain't no big deal. You know, you can swap. Might fucking cost you more money, but fuck it. Like, you know, you might never even get to pay that money back. Life's crazy, you know, it's a fucking roller coaster. But you've got to open yourself to the possibilities. Like, you gotta try new things, and you just gotta keep doing stuff. If you've got even an inkling, like a tiny little acorn is growing in your brain about something that you want to do, and you think you know it, go out there, read up about it, reach out to people in that field, send out a bunch of emails, a bunch of letters, you know, like find those people that are doing what you think it is you might want to do. Ask them questions. People will answer. You'll be amazed. You'll be amazed. No, you know, at how much time people will give you, because everybody has been there. Everyone's been where you are, and that's being fucking scared because we don't know, we're taking those tentative steps in adulthood. We're becoming real people. We're gonna have to do it by ourselves. That is terrifying by nature. That's what it is. That's the fucking the void is waiting for you, and you know it's totally natural, dude. But what you got to do is you just got to marshal it. Realize that what's the worst that can happen, and just go out there, do stuff. Keep trying things, and eventually you're going to come across something that's going to click with you, it's going to resonate inside of you, and it's going to give you a clearer idea about your identity and what path you're going to walk in on life. So just, you know, don't be afraid, man. Like, seriously, the world ain't all that scary, and there's loads of cool people out there that are going to help you through and be able to give you ideas and information. And what the worst thing you can do is shut yourself off from that. So yeah, you'll be fine, dude. You'll be fine. So, right, wrap up, and then we'll do a couple more. Someone keeps spamming about unicorns of love. Again, I'm kind of indifferent. Sorry, I don't really have an opinion. I don't often say that. Who in the esports scene do I think has real charisma? Tough question, because I think the things that I like in people are very different. Total Biscuits really won me over. Like, again, we started out as fucking enemies sniping at each other on Twitter, and you know, I really learned to respect him and look up to him now. So, and that was, again, my bad. So, can I, someone says, oh, 7 charisma, can you laugh like Seth Rogen for me, please? I do look a little bit like Seth Rogen. I do get that often. It's like, there you go. So that's the Seth Rogen laugh. Dryish says, can I see myself becoming the TB of the LOL scene? I hope you mean Total Biscuit and not tuberculosis. You know, probably not. The dude's got something special. He's got a gift. He's got a drive that I don't have. And you know, or I'm kind of getting, like, he's next level. I work hard, you know, but he is next level. I mean, think about it. He's still been putting out videos while he's had a course of chemotherapy. That guy's amazing. So I would do very well to be a fraction of what he is to gaming for League of Legends. I think that's probably a bridge too far for me. Right. People keep asking about would I take in unpaid remote interns for journalism. No, I wouldn't do that. I don't think it's appropriate for me specifically to do that. The Daily Dot doesn't really operate like that. But what I would say is, if anyone's serious about it, you know, I'm going to put some resources out there for you, and I will make time for people. You know, I try and, you know, I take random Skype ads pretty much daily. You know, for people that want to break out into the industry and want to learn the industry, and I'll have conversations with them and try and point them in the right direction. I believe I've got a responsibility to do that, both, you know, morally, and just, you know, for the good of the industry. Actually, you know, it's going to benefit us in the long term. We need more good reporters. Let's see. Caesar Gaming asks, have I ever been attracted to a man? If so, who was it? Obviously, Sky. You know, so there you go. He'll love that. Yeah, we're there's a bromance brewing. We don't get to hang out as much as we should. So yeah, he's my League of Legends boyfriend, shall we say? And I think that's about it. As if someone asked that question right at the end. So esports has a dark side. Yes, it does. But I don't know if I can go into it now. We're going to tell you. Thanks to all the people who subscribed during this. I see people spamming sub hype. It does mean a lot that you would subscribe, as I've said, for all the reasons earlier in the stream. I should probably get one of the things that pops up, but again, it feels a bit cliched. But I will. I'm gonna maybe do like a newsletter or something for subs. I don't know. I need to do something for subs. I want to do something different to what everyone else does, because I don't think subscribers generally get a lot out of the subscription experience. So I want to work on that. Anyway, I think that's it. So let's wrap it up. It's been great to have you all assembled for 3.5 hours of just listening to an old guy talk about esports, which is cool. I hope the AMA format was something that you enjoyed. I'll definitely do another one, you know, a couple of months maybe. Sorry if any questions didn't get answered. But you know, we can fucking. I'll make time for anyone. All you got to do is, if you tune into this stream, if you ask a question, you know, if I'm not getting shit on in League of Legends or Counter-Strike or something, and I don't have to go fucking old man concentrate mode, I'll answer the questions. It's a pretty interactive stream. It's a pretty interactive experience. I'm glad you've all enjoyed it. And you know, look, you all know where to find me. You can follow me on Twitter. You can follow my Facebook. You can watch the stream. But the main thing is, you know, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to keep doing as much work as I can And, you know, hopefully you guys are going to keep consuming it, because, you know, at the end of the day, whether you like me or whether you fucking hate me, I kind of am doing this not just to make a living. I could write about anything, really. I'm writing about this game for this community because I give a shit. You know, it is kind of for you guys, without being cheesy about it. So, thanks a lot. Have a lovely night. I'm going to run one more set of commercials. Just while I start closing all the monitors down and shit. Watch them, don't watch them, it's up to you. But thanks a lot for all tuning in. You've made an old man very happy. And that's what I say to my girlfriend every night. And yeah, if you're watching this as a VOD, I hope you enjoyed it also. VOD should be out relatively soon. And like I say, thanks for everything. Peace out. Have a nice evening.